Cafe. Anyway. Yay!
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2458. Hello, it's Mike Matthews. Welcome to the show entitled Mike's Daily Podcast. I hope you had a good Wednesday. Lately, Wednesdays feel to me like Thursday, and I don't know if that's normal for you. Is your day a good day? I don't know. I'm done with singing today because I'm not. Hey, here's an interesting. Hey, there's some music playing now. Mike's Daily Podcast. In the middle of my podcast, it was playing another song. That's crazy. How's that possible? Mike's I don't know. Daily. But thank you for listening podcast to the show that has this name. Yeah. Wonderful. Last picture for the podcast that was called Traveling was me traveling upon a beach. I was walking on this beach and walking with a very interesting gait and style. I think today we'll go with something without me that might be more enjoyable for people. But you can always see the podcast pictures at mikesdailypodcast.com. I invite you to go there and check them out because I have a lot of them, and some of them pretty good. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever do an exhibit or like some kind of museum or gallery. Is probably the word I want that would involve my work, but still there is a website on the internet that I try to keep in good shape, and I've done now 2,458 episodes, and I don't understand episodes how on earth I got onto IMDb. Somehow just about all my podcasts since 2020 have been uploaded to IMDb. However, it is not actually the podcast, but the podcast title and the date that I uploaded it.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I don't know who's putting that up there. I don't know how it happened. I can tell you that my dad is on IMDb. He is credited with being in the movie Continental Divide. He had a small speaking part in that I think was about a sentence long. But he is also seen walking next to, who was the woman that was in that movie? The main actress, the lead actress. The foil to John Belushi. I forget her name, dang. Well, anyway, the late great Basil the Boxer, everybody. Yes. I know you can look it up on the internet and find it. In fact, I might be doing that now. Basil the Boxer never looked up movies on the internet, but apparently that is what I'm doing now, and it is not 1981 movie. It just shows John Belushi, Val Avery, and Bill Henderson. Who was the woman, you sexist website? Lawrence? No. Blair Brown. Thank you. I know somebody was screaming Blair Brown 100 times until I said that. But speaking of famous actresses, Jamie Lee Curtis says she assumed that Ana de Armas was unsophisticated and inexperienced, because she grew up in Cuba? What? Jamie Lee Curtis. And there you are, playing an amazing character, very bizarre, in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Wow, she was amazing in that. Jamie Lee Curtis said she thought de Armas' background in Cuba would have made her inexperienced. The first day I was like, oh, what are your dreams? Curtis recalled. Jamie Lee Curtis, I assume, because they starred in Knives Out together, which is on Netflix. No, wait a minute, that might be on Amazon Prime. Did you hear Netflix has lost 200 I think over 200,000 customers have left since the beginning of the year. Wow. Now, I'm sure the Stranger Things doing so well is going to help him, but okay, trying to make some more sense of this. Jamie Lee Curtis had wanted to introduce de Armas, who had a career in Cuba and Spain, wanted to Steven Spielberg, or to her godchildren, Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal. Did you know that they are related? Neither did I. But Jamie Lee Curtis was reportedly surprised to learn that de Armas was already acquainted with Jake Gyllenhaal, as de Armas is also friends with Keanu Reeves, who was her co-star in the thriller Knock Knock. Curtis praised de Armas as being curious and asking a lot of questions. She is not as fancy as maybe the advertisements would have you believe. She leans in, interested. Talking to her is kind of give and take. Okay, there you go. A little bit of an insight into her co-star from Knives Out. But she is not in the movie. de Armas is not in Everything Everywhere All at Once, I don't think. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, did she do all that? She did a couple of moves. You know, she's fighting in that. At one point, she's trying to break somebody in half, like with a wrestling move or some weird thing. Yeah. I'm sorry, I am having a difficult time remembering actors' names. But this is rather sad. Some of the really famous golden age of movie actors who are no longer with us, but who left a legacy of not only on film, but also a very famous place in New Mexico. I think it's called Hotel El Rancho Hotel in New Mexico. And it was made famous because all these very famous people like Humphrey Bogart, Marilyn Monroe, Jane Fonda had stayed there later on. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway,
many famous stars like John Wayne and I think Jack Benny all stayed at this place, many others. It was a hotel that was founded by D.W. Griffith's brother. And D.W. Griffith is notorious for the movie that I can't remember now. That's really notorious and racist and terrible. But it's also historical. And it's the one, you see that little clip in Forrest Gump. They do like a quick little recreation of one of the scenes. The history of the world, history of the United States, of civilization, something like that is the name of it. Forgive me, movie fans, especially since I am apparently on IMDb, and here I know I am no Leonard Maltin. I'll tell you that. I am no Leonard Maltin knowing all these things. But anyway, outside a cafe anyway. This hotel that I have been describing and who I've watched a couple of my YouTube favorites. I love watching the people that travel and video along the way as they travel and comment, and you kind of experience certain places that they go to and ride along with them. I love Adam Wu, the Carpetbagger, Jacob, and Will and Don from Yankee in the South channels. Chris the Girl, she's fantastic, and her boyfriend, Tampa J. But Carpetbagger pointed out, and I did not know this, that El Rancho Hotel has burned to the ground. It is gone. It is no more. And what's very interesting is he stayed there about 3 months ago as he traveled from the the Midwest to the West to Santa Monica along Route 66, Chicago to LA. As he was traveling, he stayed at the El Rancho Hotel for the night in the Jane Fonda room. And one of the last things he says, and it's really cool because he eats at the restaurant there. There's a cigarette machine, an old-timey cigarette machine in there, which I don't know, with someone smoking and they fell asleep. That's how a lot of fires start. I know. I think one of my parents or somebody in my family did something similar. A lot of big smokers in my family. I have never smoked, and I never will, and I hate it. Disgusting. And it took my mom's life, I think. I'm convinced. But the fact is that this hotel has burned to the ground, and one of the last things that Carpetbagger says, as he's talking to his camera, he says, well, it's really great. Thank you for joining me on this trip, on this video. You know, I document a lot of these places because they may not be around that much longer. He actually somewhat predicted that place was not going to be around much longer. It's very fascinating. So he talked about that in one of his more recent videos. But I often wonder how people like that, YouTubers, can make money. I guess they get a lot of views. All the people I mentioned have thousands and thousands of views. I think maybe the podcasts I upload to YouTube get two views, and I think one of them is me, generally. Probably because I don't have the great knowledge of movies. I don't know. But I do know a little bit about, or at least this guy, L.J. Suzuki, knows. He is the fractional CFO and founder of CFO Share, through which he helps small businesses grow with professional financial strategies. Budget planning, he says, is a critical process for your business. The point of a budget plan is to set expectations you can measure actual performance against. Analyzing your budget plan compared to the actual outcome, known as a budget versus actual variance analysis, allows you to evaluate your business's performance, analyze financial deviations, and make informed management decisions. Without reports to measure, you are flying blind. And this is in the latest Costco connection. And it's interesting because a lot of businesses are going to have a tough time this year. A lot of people are going to shop, they're going to shop more frugally and spend money more frugally and be more careful. So it'll be tougher for businesses and all. Maybe why they have put this article in here. But I do not have a small business. I work for a big business. And every day I see what they do, and I'm in awe, and I'm like, wow, how did they know to do that? Oh, yes, years of experience, because they've been around a long time. But it's fascinating to me. My mom ran a small business. She had a video store, interestingly enough. And her son knows nothing about movies. Okay, some movies, but yes, she did that. It was somewhat profitable for a while. Then along came Blockbuster, and she saw the writing on the wall at that point and shut it down. Blockbuster got shut down by Netflix. And if you recall, at one point Netflix was doing the exact same thing. Blockbuster actually, I don't know who copied who, but I think Netflix probably came up with the idea. They said, hey, we don't have the warehouse space that Blockbuster has. We don't have the brick and mortar stores to store all these DVDs. So what we'll do is we'll mail out the DVDs to the people that want them. And then the DVDs will actually never be here for very long because they'll be with the people watching it. Then they'll mail it in because they want to get their next DVD. And then we get the DVD back, but as soon as it's back, we mail it out again. So they did have some warehouse space, but not that much. And all of this got invented just south of here in the South Bay, San Jose, that area. But Netflix today doesn't even rent out DVDs anymore, do they? That would be a good question to ask somebody that knew the answer. Maybe I'll ask the internet. It took forever to find out who the actress was in Continental Divide. Blair Brown. Sorry, Blair Brown. But yes. Does Netflix still rent out DVDs? And apparently, yes. They have a DVD rental service and millions of people subscribe to it. It's easy to forget that those red envelopes that come bearing DVDs and Blu-rays, considering Netflix spun the business off into a separate website, DVD.com. Oh, this was in 2012. And bills customers independently of the streaming product. In fact, wasn't it called for Quickster or Quickly or something like that for a while? Now it's DVD.com. Interesting. All right, we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Somebody asked me today, Mike, last month when we were doing all this work at my place of business that I work for, the company I work for, integrating a whole new system into a radio station, and it needed a whole new software to help it run. We basically gutted the old software, put in this new one. Mike, did you ever do a Mike's Daily podcast? And yes, I did. I somehow, through the busiest month of my life, or one of the busiest months, definitely one of the busiest months of this year, and I knew it was going to be busy, but somehow I was able to get a podcast in here and there. And I'm glad you listened to it. And you can tell me if you listened to it, or if you'd like to correct me on any of my actors that I was talking about, or like to correct me on D.W. Griffith.
Call now 336-MM Daily.
You can call me 336-MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily isn't what this podcast is. I'm not sure if Griffith Park in Los Angeles is named after D.W. Griffith. I am thinking it is. I did go to a summer camp there. Actually stayed for about a week in a camp where we played Dungeons and Dragons, just like Stranger Things. That was actually the only time I ever played it as a child. But yes, it was interesting because the camp counselors were all reformed convicts. Yes, freshly out of jail. And they were our camp counselors. Yeah. And my mom knew this. And she goes, well, it should be fun. It probably wasn't that expensive. That's why she put me in it. And I think she sent me there with my best friend at the time, Derek. So maybe you'll protect each other. Everything will be fine. The most memorable moment was hiking up. And see, this is what, parents that are helicopter parents that protect their kids from everything. This is what their kids are missing out on. So me and Derek and a couple other kids and the counselor, we hiked up to the Hollywood sign, and the counselor told us a story about someone named Madame Matilda. And Madame Matilda apparently came to Griffith Park because her son had come to Griffith Park to a summer camp, probably, he said, the one that we were staying with. And the kid died. Yes. So the mom, Madame Matilda, went crazy. And now she haunts Griffith Park and kills kids in Griffith Park. And we're hearing this in the dark, sitting at the Hollywood sign. And at that time, I don't think they let you up there anymore. It was covered in graffiti and just looked really scary. And he had told one of I think it was another camp counselor with us, to walk behind us, and he jumped out and went Rah! And scared us just as he said, oh, the other thing, Madame Matilda, when she went crazy, her fingernails got really long, and she kind of did a werewolf thing where she went nuts and her hair grew out, and now she was a wild woman. And that was Griffith Park. Maybe was or was not named after D.W. Griffith. But there you go, the theatricality of Los Angeles and the stuff that goes on there. But here we are, speaking of theater, look who's here. Hello, it's Madame Rootabega, not Madame Matilda. Ooh. Yes, that's interesting. Did you ever go crazy at Griffith Park? No. Oh, shoot, we do it the way where you say yes to a bunch of things and then you say no. Let me back that up. Have you ever been to Mexico? Yes. Have you ever been to Canada? Yes. Have you been to Griffith Park? No. Okay, good. Look who else is here. Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant. And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Mike, we'd like to thank you now for teaching us how to run a small business day. Yeah, small business. Do you know that? Okay, excellent. Hey, why don't we rent a DVD and enjoy the rest of the day and evening? And you as well, please, once again, if you would like to call me 336-MM-DAILY, or you can also email me, and with details on that, it is a frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!